Okay, guys, what is the perfect amount of time to get your property sold? We're gonna talk about this tonight.
The $1 million question.
Sometimes multi-million dollar question. Properties that have been sitting on the market for too long. What's too long? What's too short? I had an offer come in, a property that we had off market or pre-market, and I had an offer come in after the very, very first open. It was too quick for the vendor. So what's too short? What's too long? We're going to talk about that tonight. What are average days on market? What are they, and what do they look like? What's a fair amount of time? And if your property's sitting on the market for too long, why could that be? Is it overpriced? What are the buyers saying? We're going to talk about some of these topics tonight.
Now, just so you know, there is a days on market analytic, which actually is from when it hits realestate.com or domain to when it actually is exchanged. There's actually numbers for each suburb, as in called days on market.
DOM.
And the industry does look at that, does track that. It doesn't take into consideration pre-market activity, so agents' websites, social media, and properties getting sold prior to that.
Which is a lot.
Which is huge.
Yeah.
How much do you reckon gets done off market, pre-market, agent website?
I reckon there's a huge amount now. I really do.
Third?
I reckon pretty much a half mark.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think there's a huge amount of stock being transacted off market or pre-market. I really do. It's a big thing now.
So let's put ourselves in a seller's shoes. And a seller is looking at getting the job done. They want to get the best possible price. Mm-hmm. And then they want to, what did you hit me for?
No, your light's on. You've got a torch that's shining in my face. So I'm trying to turn it off and be discreet. Mark's that person, like when you kick him under the table to say shush, and he goes, "What'd you kick me for?" He's that person. Yeah.
Is that bad?
No, it's just I had that light. The thing was shining right in my face, so I went to tap it. But yeah, but lucky I wasn't trying to be discreet to say shh.
Okay, so you're a seller and you're looking at getting the job done. You're looking at getting sold. You're thinking, okay, you're racking your brain. You're going, how long is this going to take me to get a great result? Now, it does get complicated when you consider that, there's the pre-market activities agent do. The dream's just to have one buyer come through a sale of it and buy for a huge price.
Most of the time.
That's the dream.
Not for every vendor. Believe it or not.
When I'm selling, how do I shape this up? How do I get this going?
How do you get what?
Selling for the perfect amount of time to get sold.
Okay. So look, buyer feedback is a really, really critical part of what we do. The best way I find is to actually listen to the buyer feedback, because the buyers are the judges. I'm always saying that to my vendors. The buyers aren't the judges. The best way is to ascertain what market value is for that particular property. And the way that I do that, or the way that we do that as an industry, is when we get enough buyer feedback where buyers are walking in going, I feel like it's about 2 mil because I saw that one, and this one had, much bigger block of land, and that one was renovated. When we hear that figure often enough, that let's call it $2 million on a particular property, we call that market value. So we start to understand what good money looks like when it comes through the door. Now, there's lots of agents that would say, well, we just take it to auction and this is what we do, and this is how we get the best amount of money for the vendor. And I agree to a certain extent. But there have been many, many a time where we have had a property pass in at auction at a certain amount. Mark, you just had this happen a couple of weeks ago, and so did I actually on a property. And then we exchanged it for more money than what was being discussed on that open auction floor. Interesting.
Well, it's not like car sales where you've got 45 white Corollas that are 2020 model and you can go,
that's a good analogy.
That's a great price.
Yep.
Yep, okay, I can see there's 42 that have sold and they've all sold at these prices. I am here. The property that you're selling is unique. There's so many characteristics that go into property with location and fit outs and stuff like that. So there's what I call a discovery process. And for some people, that discovery process is very quick. Some people, it's very slow. And we're dealing with personalities.
Yeah.
So we're not just dealing with property, we're dealing with personalities, with families. So there's a lot that's actually coming into it. But I think when you look at it on spec, and today we're talking about the perfect amount of time to get you sold, you is different to the other, you is different to the other, them is different to everyone else. So your circumstances may be different. I often also think people's makeup, like where they come from. If it's an accountant, they deal with business different to a solicitor. They're selling business different to a stockbroker. So it does change a little bit with people, and it does change a little bit with properties. And I guess units today in DY takes 22 days on average to trade a unit.
Yeah, and 35 for houses.
And 35 for houses.
They're the average days on market.
Right. That's taking personality, property, all of that stuff into consideration.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the metric. But everyone is different.
Now, when we've got vendors that say, well, why is it taking so long to sell? Now, I've just had this situation actually for a great property. I won't say which one it is. It's actually just gone under contract. It did take a little bit longer than the average days on market to sell. And the vendor was saying, I don't understand, Lisa, that one sold down the road. I think my property's better than that. That one sold up the road. I think my property's better than that. These ones sold a lot faster. What is going on? We look at three things. We look at the price. We look at the actual product itself, so the property itself, and then we look at the promotion, the marketing of the property. Now, when we go through that price, product, promotion, what we call the 3 Ps, it's usually quite easy to identify why a property has sat on the market for maybe longer than those average days. And of course, then we put into the mix, what were the buyers saying to us? All right. And so that could be the basis as to why a property is taking a little bit longer to sell. Now, in this situation with this particular property, it was not your average property. There was something different to it. And the buyers that were walking through that property were telling us time and time and time again, I love it, but, you know, it had this little bit of a sticking point to it. And so we got the deal done, but it did take a little bit longer because it wasn't your normal property. What I find, Mark, is when we've got a good conventional property, and let me point out to you guys what that might be. A house where all the bedrooms are all on the one level, where the yard comes straight off from the living area, where there is parking and it's not on a main road. A good conventional property will usually fly out the door quite quickly. And that's where those average days on market will apply. When you've got something that is not conventional, as I mentioned, this great house that I'm selling at the moment, where there's just a little bit of an added sticking point that seems to be a bit of an issue with the vast majority of buyers, they sell. It just can take a little bit longer. And so this is what we look at. Look at.
Internally, we always talk with clients, we talk with ourselves about the 3 Ps. Price, product, and promotion.
Constantly.
So price, is the obvious one. We think is the price right. Promotion is the least obvious one, which is, or even actually product is quite obvious because it's is that product presented how it should? Is there paint, carpet, there's no mold on the ceiling? That's presentation. That's the product. But the promotion's a hard one because the promotion is, has it hit every single avenue out there with prospective purchasers for you to be confident that the prices that have been presented are market value? Mm-hmm. So I can say if an agent may say, look, I've brought through 12 people. It's not on the portals. It's on my social media, but they have no following on their social media. And these are the 2 offers that we've got. As an owner, when you look at your price, product, promotion, I would see a failure or a shortcoming in the promotion. I'd be saying, look, I don't think it's actually been saturated in the marketplace.
Yep.
To actually say I'm getting the best price. Then you move forward, take more time to explore and do some more promotions.
I just had this situation.
Price, product promotion.
So I just had this situation today. I launched a house, really good property actually, and it's been pre-market on my social media. In the last week, we've had 20 buyers come through, 20 in 2 days. Significant. I've had 2 offers on the property. My vendor, beautiful, beautiful vendor, she said, oh, do you think we can get a little bit more? And I said to her, actually, I do. I really do. I think we've gotten such good numbers coming through pre-market or off-market via our social media and our database. I truly think that if we threw this out to realestate.com and threw that net wide, I'm actually going to get you a better price. So as Mark said, you got to make sure that you are saturating all of your marketing. On the flip side, there's been many, many a time when I have launched a property out to social media and to database, and we had a whopping big offer come through pre-market, and it just swooped the vendors off their feet, and we sold that property pre-market, days on market, very quick. But as you know, the average days, those metrics are really important, guys. If you are selling in an area and you're perplexed as to why your property might be sitting on the market for too long, you need to go on and have a look at those metrics and have a conversation with your agent about why. Is it the price? Is it the actual product itself? Is it the property? What are the buyers saying? Or is it the marketing? Could something else be done to the marketing to bring more buyers through that property? What are the reasons why the property's been sitting on the market for too long? I've got a beautiful property on the market at the moment, absolutely spectacular property. The vendor's expectations on that property are well above market value. That's just what's right for them. They've got a phenomenal property. We've had interest at quite a pretty high level as well, but the vendors are looking for a higher price. And they likely will get it because it is an absolute unicorn of a property. And so they're quite happy just to, the metrics fly out the window in that situation because they're going, you know what, we're just going to wait. We know someone's going to come in and pay this kind of money. The property is an absolute unicorn. As I said, it's a spectacular property.
I think at the end of the day, Les, people vote, buyers vote with their money. So they, you know, as long as you've got that flow of good quality buyers coming through and they're making offers on the property, they're voting with their money saying, look, we've seen 10, we're going to make an offer on yours.
Yeah.
And it's really funny with what buyers do. They won't see 10 properties and make 10 offers. Very different to what an owner thinks.
Yeah.
Owners think that you know, we've had 10 buyers, why didn't we get 10 offers? They don't do that. One buyer will go out and see 10 properties in the course of a Saturday and they'll make an offer on one, not 2 at a time or 3 at a time, one. So if you're getting a barrage of offers, you know you're sitting at a good market value there. Plenty of people are lining up and they are voting with their money. So it's really interesting.
And also a great agent will guide you right through. So I had an offer on this particular property. I've just launched it out to realestate.com today. I had a lot of buyers come through and I had a couple of offers there. And the offer initially, we had the open on Saturday. We had 12 or 13 buyers come through. I had one offer, a good offer, and it just happened a little bit too fast for my vendor. So, you know, it's just, again, it's working through that process. And, you know, again, guys, make sure you are listening to what your agent is saying. You have employed us because we are the experts in our field. And there's been many a time, Mark, when I've started with a campaign, I'm like, you know what, this is going to be an auction, this one. And then we've changed course very quickly because we had a great offer come in. Or on the flip side, we've started with a private treaty for sale. We had a lot of interest and then we've pushed it out to an auction campaign.
What's too quick look like?
Well, you know, I don't know. I don't know if there is such a thing, I'll be honest. If there is a wonderful offer that comes through the door, I've sold a property in 4 hours. I've literally sold a property in 4 hours. Phenomenal offer, too good to turn down. Everything worked for the vendor. They were like, how good's this? I got a magic figure in 4 hours and we were sold. So, you know, I don't know if there is too quick. It's just what works for the vendor. If you get an average offer that came in within 4 hours, I think you'd be waiting to, you know, to push it out and see what else is out there with with the market and the buyers.
If a property's on for too long, does it get poisoned? So we're talking about the perfect amount of property. If you've just tuned in today, so the perfect amount of time to get you sold. Is it like too much time where it gets to a certain period where it's like,
no,
I don't want to buy that. No one else wants to buy it, so I don't want to buy
no.
it.
There's been many a time that I cannot tell you how many cleanups I have done off the back of other real estate agents. I just sold one in Bellevue Hill, 3 at 159 Victoria Road in Bellevue Hill. Look that one up, guys. It had been on the market for over 400 days with another real estate agent. And then we came along and sold it in 25 days. Talk about a property being on the market for too long. And price was not sacrificed. $7.3 million it sold for.
Again, if we go back to what I was saying before, price, product, promotion, that promotion's quite unique because there's thousands of aspects to it. We had one I was trying to develop the other day. Bellevue Hill, you're talking about. I'm talking about another one, which was a developer out of the area.
Yeah.
The agent didn't turn up to the open, and the builder sold it to a buyer that came through. There's simple element. This is like a big site, right? You'd think the agent would be schmick.
Yeah.
But in terms of that promotion side of things, it may just be what's coming out of the agent's mouth, the attitude towards the property. It may be, is it on portals, websites? Is it on social? It may be the way the agent walks the buyer through the property. Like technically,
it may be that it says contact agent.
Right.
They're probably two of my most favourite words that are used in our industry. It basically says, don't contact me.
All of those things in conjunction.
Yeah.
And what I mean by even the way you hold yourself in the property, people laugh when I say they go, what are you talking about? If an agent walked you into a property and walked straight to the toilet and said, I want to show you something, you'd go, this is what a weirdo. So the way the agent starts the tour, finishes the tour, guides the tour of the house can make you feel really good about it or really bad about it. That's experience.
But not only that, there's something to be said about a property that has been on the market for too long. Did the agent change up the marketing? Did the marketing stay the same? Did the lead photo of that property sit the same lead photo for 400 days? I'm just throwing back, guys, to anyone who's tuned into a property that I just sold a few weeks ago in Bellevue Hill. Yep. Out of area. I'm very comfortable in the eastern suburbs. I was born and bred there. But, 400 days it had been on the market with another agent. I doubt those photos were changed at all for those 400 days. I came along and redid all new photos. We put up all open times. We opened that property 3 days a week. It said contact agent on the ad, which to me basically says, don't contact me. So there were no open times online. There was no price online. The photos probably hadn't changed in 400 days. And there was fresh energy coming through this phenomenal property and a bit of an adjustment to the price guide as well. Not much. We asked the vendor to not change their expectations on price, but we were just going to change our course on what we were guiding.
Well, it's funny with pricing because sometimes people automatically build up a price even when they see a price. So you've got to make sure you're considering what the market expectations are when you're pricing the property, because in some areas they build it up, some areas they're a bit more conservative in their pricing. It's really funny.
Yeah.
But I do have to say that what they say the definition of insanity is to do the same thing
over and over again and expect a different result. Yeah.
So I think sometimes agents build a campaign. They think it is the perfect campaign. It is the perfect headline. They are the perfect photos. Leave it. And then they go on.
That's right. And then wonder what happens.
Perfect.
But again, we draw back to the 3 Ps, guys. We're talking about days on market for a property. Is there too short? Is there the absolute perfect storm? Is there days on market that are too long? And so there is rationale behind all of it. The most successful properties that I have sold, where we have gotten properties sold in a really good period of time for a really good price, have been where the vendor has allowed me to do what I needed to do to get the property sold. That's where I've seen the most successful ones, where the vendor doesn't say, I don't want you putting that guide on the property.
It's trust.
It's trust.
It's trust.
It's trust. They're the most successful campaigns. In Lisa, we trust. You should get a tattoo with that. I think. I love that.
WT
We've got some comments tonight, Mark.
No one's asking.
No comments.
None.
Guys, feel free to intervene. We are running a live show here. So feel free to throw your comments in. Maybe you've had an experience. Maybe your property's on the market. Maybe you're an agent. Maybe you're a buyer. Really interested to hear what you guys think. It's a real thing. It's a real metric. It's conversations that we are having constantly.
I've got a question.
Yes.
Has the perfect amount of time changed since the market changed?
Oh, there's without a doubt. Days on market does definitely change depending on what the market is doing. Absolutely, without a doubt. There are times, and it's all supply and demand. So if we have an oversupply of stock on the market and an undersupply of buyers, those days on market are going to get longer, and vice versa.
I love a graph.
That's quite a hectic graph.
I love a graph.
That's it. It's in
I
focus
love a
now.
graph.
Explain this to us, Mark.
No, you.
No, I'm not the data girl.
Okay.
Although I have trained myself to love data.
Okay, so
that's quite a hectic graph. Where's that for? Where's that for?
Chroma.
Okay.
Heaps of houses in Chroma.
Yep, not many apartments there.
The nice thing about this, look, can I do this? Watch this. Everyone's going to get angry.
Uh-oh. What are you doing, Mark?
That didn't work.
Now we've lost our phone.
Their days on market. There you go. That's a nice distance. So to have a look, 10 years, Chroma, typical core suburb, Northern Beaches, and look, it was 10 days on the market as an average back in the old days, 10 years ago. Days on market went up. That looks like COVID to me. Then they went down. Look at COVID, and now they've been building up gradually. That's
exactly the sentiment.
And if you don't believe that suburb, give me another one.
I think they're all those graphs I think are going to look like that. I'll give you the suburb of DY. That's just because that's where our office is.
DY,
so let's look at DY.
10 years.
Let's have a look. Looks like a roller coaster. Yep.
All right,
there you go.
Days on market sort of
all over the shop. But again, guys, understand it's supply and demand. One would expect that if there is not a lot of stock on the market and we are seeing an oversupply of buyers, what's going to happen to the days on market? They're going to shrink right in. At the moment, we are seeing average days on market, average being 22 to 30 days on market, approximately around DY. We've just drawn on one suburb. And that's because we are seeing an average amount of property in the market. Stock levels aren't high, stock levels aren't low. It's a very balanced market at the moment. So I'm not surprised that we're seeing that average days on market.
So in conclusion, before we go, the perfect amount of time to get you sold is?
I would have to say for, are we talking about in a particular suburb or just in general? In general. I think, guys, if you have been sitting on the market for more than 40 days, it's starting to get a little bit long in the tooth. You need to be looking at those 3 Ps with your agent, the price, product, promotion. I think if you're going past 40 days, it's not to say something is wrong with your property. It's just little alarm bells should definitely start to be ringing to say, all right, what's going on here?
Keep it fresh.
Price, product, promotion. And that agent, your agent, guys, should constantly be mixing up your campaign. They should constantly be playing around with, pricing if they're able to. Fresh text, fresh photos.
Avenues,
yes.
Maybe fresh agent, swap them out.
Yep.
Whatever you need to do.
There you go. Hopefully that's helped you guys.
Love you. See you guys.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.